Okay, today is August 1st, 2023, and this is my trade recap. Coming into today, I actually had poor sleep once again. It's just some personal things I had to take care of, and that really affected my sleep. I went to bed around 2:30 to 3 o'clock-ish, so I came into the morning with like maybe 4 to 5 hours of sleep. There's no way I can perform on 4 to 5 hours, and I knew that coming in. But I came in and did my DRC, got my easiest 1% out of the way, which yesterday I didn't fill out my DRC prior to placing my first trade. So I just filled that out real quick, did a top-down approach on SPY. Starting off with the monthly, looks super extended. This does not look like it's ready for a move higher, especially at the open. Same with the weekly. Daily chart's a little bit better, but it's showing some topping action here. So if this key supply zone continues to reject, then this is a good area to look for short side plays. In terms of news, there wasn't really anything significant besides PMI and ISM at 9:45:10. So the main ideas I had for open, the most ideal open would have been a strong open, fail follow through, looking for continuation short. So sort of been before it can break this 4597.5 level that it's setting out in pre-market at the time, which was around 7 o'clock, 7:30. If it breaks above this purple area, this 4609.3, this is a key level that I drew out in pre-market, which was the prior breakdown level where it had a significant move on the hour chart. This is also going to act as the key support level or key resistance level when it first retests. But in pre-market, it's already retesting that area, consolidate, and then if it breaks above, I'm looking for either some sort of support at that level for a continuation long, or if that level fails to hold, starts acting as resistance, I could play that continuation short. So this was the ideal open where it made sense, where it's gapping down in pre-market. And if it can have some sort of a gap fill reversal type of setup or into that key supply zone, or if you want more confirmation, if it can reject off this purple. So this is another potential, same idea. Doesn't crack down below, breaks above, holds this purple, and then holds a higher low for that continuation long. And then there was a weak open reclaim long. So this is if it breaks this level at open or in pre-market and it reclaims that level, it can either retest that purple, crack above, hold the purple, and then you could play the continuation long setup. Or actually, this will be a weak open reclaim long. So this is weak open reclaim, hold this level, the prior breakdown level, and then you could play that long with a very tight risk and then play it to the purple. The risk reward here makes sense for 1 to 2, and then you can sell some into there. Just in case it can break above and then start to hold that purple as support and it just continues higher. Or you can scalp it to that purple for 1 to 2 and then flip it short. But that's a very risky trade. What's better idea is scalp the long for that guaranteed 1 to 2 or high probability 1 to 2 and then wait for this to retest this level and form some sort of a lower high to play the reshort right here for that tight risk. So that was another idea, the weak open reclaim long. And then another one was a weak open stay weak, is if it breaks that level, tries to test above that level, cannot, and then breaks down, that would be the short, and the price target would be around this consolidation level plus this trend line. And that's easy 1 to 2 to 1 to 3 price targets. And the actual open actually ended up being this actually broke down premature in pre-market. In case of a premature breakdown, expect there to be some sort of buying on the dip. This isn't an area, if it's a premature breakdown, it's not an area where actual shorts are going to be selling at that level. It's more likely an area where overhead longs from prior day is most likely selling, panicking out into that level. And it's going to be, if the trend is intact, the dip buyers are going to remain in control most likely. And then it's going to reclaim that level where you could play that reclaim flag long, which is what I talked about earlier, where it breaks that level, reclaim flag long. So today it was actually a combination of both. It was a premature breakdown on that level where you're looking to play the reclaim flag long to that purple, and then play some sort of a continuation short. So the short that I drew out in pre-market was actually where it retests this level and it holds a lower high and then break short. But the short that I saw in real time, because the chart develops always differently, so you can't really draw out specifically exact pinpoint accurate entries prior to the chart developing. But in this case, where it rejects off that purple perfectly and shows no buying in the price action, you can look for a continuation short. So the next break of this level would be the valid short. And I'll go over my executions a little bit. My thesis was correct, but I executed pretty poorly. Okay, so my goal is to stick to my max loss and stick with 4 trades only, and I did do that today, so I'm very happy about that. How do I make it easy to achieve my goal for the day? After 4 trades, just shut off the computer and work out. Easiest 1% from prior day is to fill out my DRC and meditate prior to placing trade. I did do that. And let's see. So my first trade here was actually here, I'll go over it on my TradeZilla. Is much easier. So this was an invalid premature short, way too premature. This was an area, okay, so this was actually an invalid signal. I thought it triggered me in, but technically it didn't break this low. So what I was looking for was when it broke premature, that key level that I was looking for, then once it comes back to retest that level, and if it can trigger back below that level, then that would look good for a short. That would potentially be the first area where longs are looking to potentially exit on this level right here. Especially this trigger became valid once it broke above this level at open and failed to follow through, and then came down. But this, even if it broke this area here, you're risking way too wide off of higher day. That wouldn't be a valid signal. You needed to wait for some sort of a lower high here and then play that short, which would have been a much better risk reward and higher probability of following through. In this case, it didn't even trigger you in. It didn't even break this level. So in either case, you shouldn't have gotten in, but I did get in. And the problem with this is once you realize that you got in on a premature or invalid signal, you should have stopped out immediately. But I didn't. I held to my full stop. But what stop are you holding till? Higher day. Why? If the trigger was never even there to begin with, you should have just stopped out immediately. But I decided to hold till higher day, so I took a 1 hour loss for no reason there. Next trade was, and that started me off wrong. Very, very, with my lack of sleep as well, just not in the best mindset. With that terrible trade, this wasn't even a trade. It was a false signal when I got it on. So that was my fault. Second trade, this was another premature entry here. 941. Let's see. Right over here. No reason to take this trade yet. Little way too premature. If anything, you need to wait for. This I would consider a valid short right here off the 1 minute. At this 944, I skipped this one. I didn't add here because the news was coming out at 945. So I wanted to see how it reacts to news. Not much came in here, and then 946 is where there was that potential add at that short right here at the break of 4602. But then if you're looking at this on a slightly bigger time frame on the 5 minute, what is the potential price target to the trend line and to the 5 minute 90 MA? Then you got a 1-to-1 here. Then you need to scalp at least one risk free into. But because of my morning loss, unnecessary loss, I didn't scalp any into here. I was hoping for a bigger move and continuation, but this is the predictable part of the move. Anything else that happens afterwards is completely unknown, and you knew that prior to pulling the trigger, so you should have taken it taken out at least half right here. But once I started reclaiming and failed to follow through to the downside a few times, holding the trend line very well, I knew the next break of this 4603.5 level was going to stop me out, especially above VWAP. I didn't stop out there. I decided to give it to my full stop, 4604, and I believe I got triggered at 46. Let's see, 4604.25. Yep. So that was about a 2-hour loss once again for no reason. Didn't lock in any profits into the predictable part of the move. If you're not gonna scalp that setup, it's not a winning setup. You have to scalp into the predictable part of the move in order to keep that scalp setup a winning setup. This one was just after those 2 losses, just very emotional trading here. No signal once again. So 3 invalid signals in a row. This was a break of this flag line. I'm looking for some sort of selling pressure into these highs. First of all, there was no buying pressure that came in. This was an area where longs would potentially need, get in on this trade. I was tempted to flip long here as well. This was a valid long signal, to be honest. But because there was too much overhead resistance, I decided not to take that trade, and there was news coming out at 10. I decided to take it short instead because the risk reward I thought made sense. And of course, it was a tight risk play, no setup though. I ended up taking this out for a loss at, I believe I got it at 956, 955 actually, and got it at 958. Got it at 955 right here. Oh my goodness, literally one tick after the long signal, just because it couldn't follow through immediately. That's so bad executions, dude. So I got it short right here, and then covered out into this candle here. So that's a good cover right there. This is the terrible entry here. You need to see some sort of a retest of this trend line, and then you can play the break of that trend line. I can understand that. But this is just way too premature and just revenge trading already. And then the next trade I took was another tight risk play, premature entry, but I thought it made sense for a short. Risking off this 4609, that key level that I drew out in pre-market. If that level can not breach and rejects harshly off that level, I'm looking for some sort of continuation short. Took the shorts into the trend line test right here because I saw a lot of selling pressure in the price action, risking off this purple here, 4609.32. And I didn't even take an ad here because it's way too premature. If you're really looking at it, technically speaking, the only place that made sense for a short was this level right here on the 5-minute. Would have been a 4602.7 break, and that would make sense on the risk reward side, and it would be breaking that trend line. But I was already in my position, so I didn't take that ad. Instead, I started my short up over here near the purple for a tight risk play, and they covered into the wash. I took half out into VWAP here into the predictable part of the move, and then I wanted to hold the rest in case it can go lower, because there is room lower, especially with the 5-minute setting up as well and the trend line breaking. And I covered everything pretty much into the flush, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, and then everything into pre-market support level. All over here. Today was a terrible day of executions, and I started off with lack of sleep, so I cannot score more than a B on my DRC despite following my process goals. My executions were terrible, so I cannot score more than a C on my DRC. And then in terms of my process goals, I did follow my trades, my rules, which was sticking to my max loss and stepping away after 4 trades. Today I had 4 trades and I just walked away. There was a skip trade that I took, or I didn't take. I skipped it because I was already hitting my max trades limit for the day. So this was actually, I'll just go over my skip trades really quick. This is the first skip trade in pre-market where it broke down premature. I decided to skip this one right here. The break of this 97.59 is way too premature on this candle. I needed to wait for some sort of a fail follow-through to the upside and then play some sort of continuation to make sense of the risk reward, which was right over here at the time. This short right here ended up playing out. Is that it? A15. A15 was actually right here. This candle right here. Right here. It was this candle right here, actually. Yeah. Right over. Yeah, way too premature. It was this candle right here. Way too premature. Yeah. This is a. If you do take this trade, it needs to be a scalp where it's just too extended to the downside in the short term. So it needs some sort of a bounce first into some sort of fail follow through to the upside, and then you complete a short. This is way too premature here. So good skip on that. This was a skip because this was the second skip trade that I took. I didn't take today. Reason for skip was because I already had 4 trades, so great job on that. Reason why it was valid was because it was retesting pre-market support level, and it trapped some shorts into a premature short signal. Nobody's taking short here. It's just sellers panicking out, and it shows some sort of bottoming action here, where it was able to consolidate for a while and wick below this level to stop out any shorts, any longs that were risking off this level. And then it reclaimed, hold a higher low. So proper risk reward to the 5 minute. 5 minute was at least a 1 to 1.5. Super extended on the short term to the downside. And then it trapped some shorts on an invalid short off this lows. Reclaimed premature short signal level. Yep, holding higher low above that level. And then enough consolidation on the 1 minute to have a trigger on the 5 minute as well. And then the result of that was right over here. This candle here is where I would have taken the entry. This candle here. And then you can sell into 1 to 1 and 1 to 2. But I skipped that trade completely. This one was a missed trade. I had one missed trade today, and that was at 8:56 a.m. It was a 1 minute low grade flag long scalp setup where same thing here, where it broke below this key level in pre-market, super extended to the downside, cannot, and nobody's taking short here as long as they're stopping out. In that case, if it reclaims that level and holds a higher low, it held a higher low on the 1 minute here with the inside candle as well, with a tight risk reward. I saw $1 per contract move here, risk to play a 1 to 1 scalp. This would have triggered me in if I was watching, but I was meditating at the time, and there was room to the 5 minute to make sense of the risk reward. Trap shorts on a premature invalid short. Yep. Break a flag line to give some sort of reasons for longs to get in, plus the inside candle on the 1 minute, and then 5 minutes also breaking the prior highs once again. The 4594 level. This trigger right here is breaking the next 5 minute candle as well. So anyone that's trailing short here has a reason to exit as well. So this would have been the result. It would have been a break even. This one would have been a break even trade because I would have taken it long here, take half off into the 1 to 1, and then if it comes back to stop me out, I have to respect that stop. In this case, it actually stopped you out first, before it goes back up, before it went back up. So in this case, this trade didn't work out. It was a break even trade, but this is a setup that you should be pulling the trigger 100% of the time. It's a very high probability winning trade, especially in a trending market. So yeah, that's pretty much all my trades for the day. Good job on following your process goal and stopping your trades after 4 trades, which shows that you're finally starting to think more about the process rather than the profits. There was clear valid setups where you could have played the bounce, the dip buys after your 4 trades have triggered, but you decided to stop that. You stop your trading. So great job on that. It's actually a very good day in terms of process goal, following my process goal. But a very terrible day in terms of sleep and executions. Very, very, very bad on executions today. This is a clear level where if it doesn't trigger you short, if I wasn't on the short side on this one, which it didn't even trigger me in at the open, I should have just played that long. That long would have been a winning trade. I could have scalped it out into the predictable push to that 4609 level and then look for a potential short signal, which that short signal would have also triggered me in. But because I took that premature short, which didn't even trigger me, so wasn't supposed to trigger me in, I was too emotional and was constantly trying to force the short side which is never the right way to trade. Never the right way to trade. Alright, well, that's pretty much it for today. Thanks.